Hi, I'm Bee, and welcome back to Read in Rome. Lately, I've been learning all kinds of cool facts and fun ideas from my daily Discovery newsletter. This week, while I was reading, I noticed something exciting. Another way authors organize information. That means we have another text structure to explore. Let's get started. Last time, we learned that text structure is the way authors organize information. We explored 3 different kinds in nonfiction texts. Description, which tells about a person, place, or thing using details about how it looks, feels, smells, or sounds. Sequence, which tells the order of events or steps in a process. And problem solution, which describes a problem and explains how it was or could be solved. Today, we will learn about a new structure called cause and effect, which can be found in both nonfiction and fiction texts. Authors use cause and effect to show us how one thing leads to another. This helps us understand why something happened, which is the cause, and what happened as a result, which is the effect. Cause and effect relationships aren't just found in books. We can see them in our everyday lives, too. For example, I stayed up really late reading last night, so I'm tired today. The cause answers the question, why? Why was I tired? Staying up late led to or caused me to be tired today. Another example could be that the sun came out after it rained, so a rainbow formed. The rain and sun are the cause, and the rainbow is the effect that happened afterward. Let's do a quick cause and effect challenge before we dive into today's daily discovery. First, I'll give you a cause. If I ate too much candy, what do you think the effect might be? What might happen after? Maybe I'd get a stomachache. Too many sweets can do that. Or maybe I wouldn't be hungry for dinner. Okay, now let's try beginning with an effect. The plant grew. What's something that could cause a plant to grow? It could be someone watering the plant regularly or making sure it gets plenty of sunlight. But here's an important tip. Even though the cause always happens first in real life, it might not be written first in the text. For this example, the author might say, "The plant grew tall and strong because she watered it every day." Here we see the effect first, followed by why it happened. Since authors might mention the cause and effect in any order, it's important to look closely and take the time to understand the connection between events. Now that we've practiced with some real-life examples, let's look at how authors use this in text. We'll start with a nonfiction passage from the Daily Discovery. It's titled, "A Schoolyard Full of Life." Just last spring, students at a school in Canada planted more than 100 trees around their playground and fields. Since then, the schoolyard has been filled with butterflies fluttering and birds singing in the trees. Can you find the cause and effect here? The cause is that the students planted over 100 trees. The effect, or what happened because of that, is that more birds and butterflies came to the area. This helps me understand what happened as a result of the trees being planted and shows how one event led to other changes at the school. This newsletter is filled with nonfiction articles, but this week it also includes a section with children's fiction stories from around the world. How cool! This short story was written by a young boy in France. It's called Louis and the Lost Baguette. One chilly morning in Paris, Louis bought a fresh baguette for his family. On the way home, he fed pieces to some pigeons. By the time he got home, only a tiny bit of bread was left. Did you eat our whole baguette? His papa asked. Not me, Louis said, but the pigeons had a great breakfast. Can you spot the cause and effect here? The cause is that Louis fed pieces of his baguette to the pigeons. The effect is that he barely had any left for his family by the time he got home. This structure helps me understand why there was so little bread at the end of the story. Without that cause, the ending wouldn't make sense. Now it's your turn. Here's a short nonfiction passage about how leaves change in the fall. As you listen, see if you can spot what happened and why it happened. In the fall, when the days get shorter and there is less sunlight, trees stop making as much food. As a result, the green color in the leaves begins to fade, and we start to see bright reds, oranges, and yellows. Pause the video, circle the cause, and underline the effect. Then, explain the connection between the cause and the effect. For the cause, I circled, when the days get shorter and there is less sunlight, trees stop making as much food. For the effect, I underlined, the green color in the leaves begins to fade, and we start to see bright reds, oranges, and yellows. The events are connected because one leads to the other. The leaves are changing color because the trees stop making as much food. Let's try a fiction passage. This is a short story written by a girl in Africa. It's called The Day the Goats Escaped. The leaves were torn and several ripe tomatoes had been eaten. Amina ran outside when she heard her brother shout, "The goats are in the garden!" Uh-oh, Amina thought. She had forgotten to close the gate to her family's goat pen that morning. Pause the video. Circle the cause and underline the effect. Then explain the connection between the cause and the effect. This text is an example where we see the effect first and the cause after. The effect is that the goats got into the garden and ate the tomatoes. The cause is that Amina had forgotten to close the gate. The events are connected because Amina's action of forgetting to close the gate led to the goats getting out and into the garden. It's important to know that cause and effect structure can look really similar to the problem-solution structure we learned about in my last video. But there's one big difference. For example, in the story we just read about the goats, did the characters ever fix the problem? No, there was no solution. A solution could be Amina cleaning up the mess or finding a way to keep the goats in. Because the solution is missing, we know the text uses a cause and effect structure and not a problem-solution structure. As you read more this week, see if you can find examples of cause and effect. Ask yourself, what happened? Why did it happen? Think about how parts are connected. You'll be amazed how often cause and effect shows up in your reading and in your everyday life. Until next time, remember, where there are words, there's a world to explore. See ya. Hey, hey.